about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Good morning, America. You're listening to America's Voice Now. My name is Michael Evans. I'll be your host this morning. Glad that you're with us and glad that I'm here, and I think we're going to have a good show today. You know, I really, even I was happy with yesterday's show, which I'm often not happy with them. But I tell you what's going on with this HIPAA thing and what's happening with our healthcare system and Obamacare and the loss of our privacy and our, you know, the elimination of our privacy. If you didn't watch yesterday's programs, if you didn't listen to yesterday's program, you missed what even I think was a great program. And I very rarely think I do a knockdown, drag-out show, but I smacked yesterday out of the ballpark. So make sure that you get an opportunity to hear that if you missed it or for some reason. Make sure that you also share it with others, because this is the kind of thing that I think most people are not aware of. You walk into the doctor's office, you see that HIPAA form, you sign off on it, you have no idea what you're signing. They don't offer to actually let you see it. The other day I took someone to the doctor, and I had to pick up the piece of paper, but they had to sign on one of these little digital pads. And I'm thinking to myself, now wait a minute. They're just saying, well, just sign this. And you're not actually signing the piece of paper to understand what you're signing. You're just signing a little digital screen. If you don't pick up the piece of paper and take it with you, you have no idea what you just agreed to. It's ridiculous. They're counting on your ignorance and your stupidity. Show them different. Okay, this morning we're going to talk about a few different issues. As usual, we typically have 4 segments, and we're going to break it into that. By the way, for the record, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this, and I'd love to hear from you today. We have installed a new system, which we're going to be testing today. So if it doesn't work right, forgive me. But we're doing live testing today. Now, we've done some background testing, but today we're going to do live testing. And it's a call-in line. You know, we've had phone line troubles and trouble getting phone line services in and that kind of thing. So we've got a new phone line service in, care of Patriot FB. I'd love for you guys to use it today. If you're interested in giving the show a call, we'll be more than happy to bring you on the air. The number is 573-453-5505. That's area code 573-453-5505. While you're writing phone numbers down, and if you're running to go get a pen, I'll give it to you again. But while you're writing numbers down, make sure that you write down our call-in listen line, where you can listen to radio by phone. You can listen to the AVN program anytime you want, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at your comfort, convenience, and leisure. That phone number is 415-325-0725. Again, that's 415-325-0725. So our topics this morning are a call-in line again, 573-453-5505. Our topics this morning are going to be one, I love this, guys. The IRS, you know, the Tea Party organizations that the IRS has been assaulting and going to war against. You're going to love this. Catherine Engelbrecht and a group that she's put together, they've put a $1 million bounty out on the IRS. Boom, shakalaka-laka. I love that. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is citizen action. That's change we can all believe in. Americans get together, crowdsource fund and pool their money, and turn around and put a bounty out on treason and traitors. That is a great idea. I'm going to talk to you about it so you understand what's going on. Our second topic. 47% of Americans in a brand new poll have given up looking for work. 47%. And yet, we're told immigration is still on the table because we have to have all these new immigrants because, well, we need high-tech workers. It's a lie and it's a sham, and I'm going to show you exactly how. There are brand new reports out by the Economic Policy Institute, the Rand Corporation, the Urban Institute, the National Research Council, and the Center for Immigration Studies. 5 reports. All 5 say the same thing. We don't have a shortage of science, technology, engineering, and math workers. That's called STEM workers, for the record. We don't have a shortage of those guys. We have 50% of all the United States of America graduates coming out of college with STEM degrees can't get a job. So why do we need STEM workers from Malaysia or Singapore or China or Japan or Russia or South America? We don't. I'll tell you why they want them. I'll tell you why the major corporations, the multinationals, want them. Because if those people squeak and complain, then they just say, well, okay, we're just going to void out your work permit, and now you got to go back home. And so those people who are coming here into the country to get a degree and then want to stay here and work, they're indentured servants. They become slaves. You, on the other hand, an American who just graduated with a degree, and you got to pay through the nose to cover and pay back to, of course, the federal government, because there's no private loaning or lending for university anymore. But you, an American citizen who's just trying to make sure that you can live the American dream, as you've been taught to believe it is, if you cry out and say, hey, wait a minute, you're not paying me enough, or I don't like the fact that you're doing something unethical, well, then they can't do that to you. Because you can say, all right, well, I'll just go get a job somewhere else. But they can't kick you out of the country, at least yet. They're working on that, I'm sure. All right. The VA scandal. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had enough with the nonsense. The president came out yesterday, said a whole lot of nothing. Shinseki, there's a brand new letter that's been released that shows that he knew a whole lot more that was going on. And here's the problem. This had better not be, and it cannot be, and it must not be a review of policy to let's make sure this never happens again. No. I want perp walks. I want a criminal investigation. I want people in shackles and orange jumpsuits. I want people charged with manslaughter, attempted murder. That's what this is. Theft. Well, how do I know theft? Because we're going to introduce you to a police officer from Miami who works for the VA Police Department. And you know what he says? You have no idea how bad it is. They deal openly in drugs right on the hospital grounds. He's exposing it. He's come forth. He's scared, he says. And he ought to be. Isn't that shameful? All right, our fourth topic. Obama and on Benghazi. Wait till you hear this. It's not serious, he says. It's not serious. But I beg to differ because the Dems have just agreed to join the investigation, which means that they're going to be joining the investigation to look into Benghazi. Now, I'm sure they're doing it to protect their own interest. But the truth is, Benghazi is a real issue. It is serious. And I got to tell you something. It's serious to the families of the 4 men who were killed. It's serious to the hundreds of thousands of people that have already or will die as a result of those weapons. What weapons, you ask? That's what Benghazi's all about, folks. It was about a massive international gun-running operation that made Iran-Contra or Fast and Furious look like a couple of kids trading marbles in the schoolyard. All right, let's break into our first topic. If you're interested in calling in on this segment, you can do that for 573-453-5505. So here's the deal. A nonprofit group has come forward. A nonprofit group. Catherine Engelbrecht is the president of the group called True the Vote, right? She was one of the ones that was, basically persecuted by the IRS. And she officially announced on Wednesday night on Megyn Kelly's Fox News show that they have put together this project. I love this. This is a great concept. I wish I'd have thought of it. I mean, I come up with a lot of creative stuff, but this one's great. They're going to put out a $1 million bounty to anyone who will provide the smoking gun, quote unquote, as evidence to implicate IRS leadership or members of the Obama administration who purposely targeted the conservative and Tea Party-minded affiliate groups. Now, Greg Phillips, he's the director of a group called the Voters Trust. It's a nonprofit, it's a political nonprofit 501c4. And they basically established themselves to identify and mobilize American voters to see what was really happening in our country. And they and Catherine Engelbrecht have gotten together to essentially put this bounty out there and crowdsource fund bounties to identify treason. I want this thing to go viral. I don't mean this project. I mean the idea of this. Think about it this way. If everybody who is, look, we know that the true patriots in the country are a minority, right? I mean, I think we are. You know, we know that 40% of the country is either on drugs, pharmaceuticals. Now I'm talking about. There's another 10% that's not on pharmaceuticals, but okay, so 50% is stoned out of their minds. Most of them on, pharmaceuticals. 50% are unemployed and are willing to do whatever it takes to get that check. 50%, and there's a lot of overlap here, but 50% are completely, totally, and not even unhappily dependent upon federal government. And they don't care. They'll do whatever they're told as long as you just, So what do we got? A 20% mass of Americans who are hardcore, true patriots? Okay, so let's just take that number for a moment. We got roughly 300 million Americans. Count out the children, and you're down to about 200 million. Take the 50% who are absolutely useless as teats on a boar hog to us, and we're down to 100 million. Take 20% of that number, and we're down to 20 million. Okay, there we go. We got 20 million people who are willing to stand up and fight for their country. By the way, that number should encourage you. 20 million Americans who will have said, I've had enough. But here's an important aspect of this. Let's assume that every one of those 20 million Americans was willing to donate $5. Okay? $5. It's $100 million. We could fund 1 million bounty projects. Bingo. I like that idea. I mean, how about one for Benghazi? Or maybe 2 for Benghazi. How about a couple on Fast and Furious? And we could probably pull that thing back out of the the outhouse that Obama and Eric Holder have pushed that into and then shut and locked the door on us. I mean, we can't go anywhere with Fast and Furious because Eric Holder has absolutely abjectly refused, and the president's given him cover for releasing any of the documents. That's why he was charged and convicted with both civil and criminal contempt of Congress. Wow. You mean the chief law enforcement officer in the nation is guilty and charged with contempt of Congress? Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. That's pretty amazing. So the idea is you get $100 million together, which, I mean, literally is $1 a person, right? Or $5 a person, excuse me. And with that $100 million, you put bounties out on these people that are betraying us. I love that idea. One, there ain't a dagnab thing they can do about it. It's not illegal. It is definitely a monkey wrench. Suddenly, Washington will get very, very nervous. Who in their staff, who in their internal circle is going to step out to take $1 million? let me tell you something. This is a brilliant idea. Will it get off the ground? I don't know. It will if we make it get off the ground. And so the challenge to you is, will you participate? Now, there's a couple of rules. In order for the person to get the money and to qualify, the person needs to provide, quote, relevant evidence, including emails, eyewitness accounts, or testimony of political targeting of Americans by the IRS or the Obama administration that has not been previously reported. Now, that's important, right? So it's got to be a new revelation. It's got to be a new exposure, and it has to be documentable, empirical evidence. It either has to be email, a memo, an eyewitness account, a first-person testimony, something along those lines. I like that. One, it provides accountability. We're not just going to, take hearsay. Phillips says the evidence must lead directly to the arrest and conviction of those people that are responsible, and that the information provided will remain anonymous and confidential. There you go. Now, of course, if the person has to testify, I don't know how that's going to remain confidential, but, quite frankly, $1 million will motivate a lot of Americans to step up. Think about it. A lot of the people that know what's going on in our country and know the treason that's being perpetrated on us every day, these are staffers who work in these congressmen and congressional offices. These are people who work in the IRS. They make $60,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year. But think about it for a moment. Of course, it's going to be interesting to file where you got that $1 million payment on your IRS return. Yeah, I got this $1 million payment for spilling the beans on you. All right. Anyway, the idea is got a lot of legs. I like it. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be holes in it. But the point is simply this. America, everybody says, well, what can I do? I'm just one person. My vote doesn't count anymore. You're right. It doesn't. And what can I do? Well, here's what you can do. You can put $5 into the dagnab kitty. $5. $5. We got a pool of $100 million for 100 whistleblowers to come forward. Better than a lottery ticket. Phillips says, we are going to crowdsource the financing for the bounty. Crowdsourcing. You know what crowdsourcing is? It means everybody pitches in a few shekels. And at the end of the day, you got enough to make the project work. His group has been planning the public bounty for months. This is about the American people, says Phillips. The days of the big party, Republican, Democrat, Tea Party, are over. And everybody has to unite right now. We're going to unite people around the truth. We're going to return people to liberty instead of expecting Congress or the Justice Department to investigate these wrongdoings. Now, there's a link on the web to this story, and it'll be in the description section of this YouTube video. And there's a poster there, and it's there's a link obviously where you can go contribute. The point is simply this, America. It's time for us to take an opportunity to reach out there and slap these idiots silly. And let's use what they use against us. Money. They're using our money against us. Why don't we take $5 each and use it against them? I think the project will work. And I know it will work if millions of Americans just get behind it. You lost $5 in change the other day you can't even find. We need 20 million Americans to contribute $5. Now, I've interviewed Catherine Albrecht, and I've talked about her story before. I'm going to try to reach her, and what I'd like to see is this idea expand beyond just the IRS. I'd like to make this an open invitation that anyone who will come forward and show us documented proof that the congressman they work for can be removed based on the evidence that they have. Proof of wrongdoing, proof of a violation of the law, proof of treason. And not just there. How about the EPA? How about the Border Patrol? How about ATF? How about Homeland Security? IRS, USDA, Department of the Interior, FCC, FAA. We can go on and on and on. There are hundreds upon hundreds of federal agencies out there, all of which are doing everything in their power to destroy you, using your money. So put your money up as a shield against the sword they've built out of your money, hammered out of your money, stolen from you. If you're interested in this project, please send me an email. You can communicate with me by email at mike@americasvoicenow.org. That's mike@americasvoicenow.org. All right, before we wrap for this segment, I've got 2 minutes left. Mike Slack from American Resume Service. They've got 20,000 employed happy clients in the last 25 years. This guy is a resume monster. He is one of the best resume writers I've ever seen. And he has a business out there at AmericanResumeService.com. AmericanResumeService.com. Now, there's 2 reasons I'm telling you about this. One, he's a great resume writer, and everybody, needs a tuned-up resume, especially now when the job market's so competitive. But moreover, he's got a $200 resume development package that he offers out there, and he's going to offer it to our AVN listenership for $100, and then he's going to take that whole $100 and donate it to the program. Wow. So first of all, you're getting a $200 resume package for $100, and secondly, that $100 is going to support AVN. I think that's a wonderful, it's a gracious, a touching offer to support this program after my call the other day to businesses to help support the effort. And it's not only that, but it's something you're actually going to benefit from. You'd have to buy it anyway. If you really want to be competitive in the job market, you got to have a sharp resume. And I'm telling you, when you see what Mike will do for you, you'll be blown away. Go to AmericanResumeService.com. You can call him at 417-264-2486. That's 417-264-2486. Or you can email him at info@AmericanResumeService.com. info@AmericanResumeService.com. Make sure that you mention that you heard about it through AVN in this program and that you're taking advantage of the 50% off a resume package, and he'll know exactly what to do. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. Make sure that you visit our friends over at Battery Station. That's batterystation.com, batterystation.com. They're located here in West Plains. You can call them on the phone if you want at 417-257-7799. We'll be back in just a minute. 47% of Americans have given up looking for work, but immigration's still on the table.